What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for the final. Never thought I'd get to say that, man. The final episode of Attack on Titan. Wow, man. We have finally done it. We have finally reached the end of this tournament. You know, it's been memed to death, obviously, for a while now about this season never ending. Mappa constantly, stretching it out for as long as they possibly can. And honestly, man, I gotta say, man, what a journey. This was like one of the first animes I watched back when I first started getting anime, like the summer 2016. I watched the show a little before season 2. Finally got like an official announcement, and we got the date for that and everything, man. So that, and you guys know that AOT was right there alongside Hiroaka in Dragon Ball Super. That's like one of the first shows I ever started doing episode reviews for. All the way back in 2017, man. This was like the first one. This and Hiroaka, those were like my first ones, along with, of course, Dragon Ball Super and DBZ Kai the final chapters. But for ones that I started from the very beginning, from the start, man, rather than like midway through a particular arc or season, it was Hiroaka and AOT. And man, been watching it, I saw back when no one was really caring about AOT, and then when it kind of like jumped really back into popularity again with the ending of season 3 and especially into season 4, man. Shit was crazy when season 4 started just debuted, man. Let me tell you, like it was a crazy time back then, man. In the anime, everyone was like, "Oh my God, AOT is the second coming, the greatest thing since sliced bread." This, that, and the third. Now, I'm sure you guys are all wondering one thing in particular. What did I think of the ending? Because obviously this ending was very controversial. When the manga first debuted, when this finally debuted in the manga, when the final chapter came out, a lot of people were not happy with this one. It was very controversial. A lot of people didn't seem to like it. And I have to say this real quick. Before we jump right in, man, I gotta say this real quick. I just want to give a little flex, man, that I never got spoiled on AOT, not once for the final season, man. Like everybody, like I had so many friends of mine that started jumping onto the manga because they were scared of getting spoilers, or because they did start seeing spoilers. They were like, "Fuck it, let me read ahead," and so I'm caught up with the manga readers, and I don't get blindsided with spoilers. Some people got impatient with the anime and they just started reading the manga. But I started this show as an anime only, and god damn it, man, I was going to finish this show as an anime only, man, and that's exactly what I did. I never got spoiled. Like when the final chapter came out, I saw memes, of things where I thought might have happened in the final chapter, but never direct like panels or anything, man. It was just kind of me like inferring based on context clues or what other people were saying, and like memes I was sort of saying, I was like, what the fuck are people talking? Like, what's going on, bro? So I heard a lot of stuff, but I never got spoiled, and I was happy that I was able to avoid spoilers this entire time, and for like the 3 years it took for the anime to finish up this arc, this final season. But yeah, man. Now, so just wanted to quickly like flex a little bit, that I see an anime, I never got spoiled, man. So fuck you, But if I was a smart YouTuber, man, I would drag this out, man. I would not tell you guys that. I would wait till the end of the video and then tell you guys that, to get up my retention. But I know this video's gonna probably be long as shit. Probably at least 40 minutes, if not like 50 minutes. If not, hell, it might even be a fucking hour. After all is said and done, ladies and gentlemen. Just because how long this episode was, I know this review's gonna be pretty long. So, I ain't gonna waste your time. I ain't gonna I know you guys got busy schedules and you just wanna, be like, Glenn, get to the goddamn point, man. Did you like the ending or did you hate it? I will answer that question right now. And overall, man, I really liked the ending, man. I thought it was a solid ending, man. Now, granted, this is after the ending had gotten like 3 or 4 revisions to it because, like basically ever since then, Ishiyama's been constantly like revising the ending, man. Like there's been like 3, I think, total revisions he's made. He didn't apologize for the ending, man. Obviously, I'm sure the anime made some other adjustments alongside that with Ishiyama or the team that they have at Mappa. So this ending has got a lot of revisions since it originally came on the manga. So, take that as was my opinion. But overall, man, I like the ending. I thought it was good. man. I thought it was a solid ending, and I think a good way to end the series off, man. I liked how it ended, man. I like how Ishiyama ended the series off, man, which we'll have to talk about that when we get to that point in the review, man. Link Horizon, of course, made their return with this final special, man, which was good to hear them again, man. I was kind of worried, like, with how long we went without Link Horizon. Like, are we really not going to go through this entire season without Link Horizon? But we got Link Horizon, man. So I was always happy to see that, man. And yeah, just a phenomenal episode, man, on all fronts. A masterpiece of an episode, man. The animation was insane from that day. We're just going off on all cylinders, man. So yeah, without further ado, also, one more thing I gotta say, guys. You guys may notice this by point, but I got a new mic, or the mic sounds different compared to my other one, and that's because I have a new webcam. Shout out to Doki Doki Cat. She's a Hiroaka like fan artist I followed on Twitter. You know, I discovered around with season 6 of the air when I started start following a lot more Hiroaka fan art when season 6 was there, man. You know, I followed her, man, liked her art, man. Made some comments on some of her tweets, man. Followed her on Instagram. Would reply to some of her stories, man. She would eventually start following me back, and then, you know, I don't know. I guess she found out I was a YouTuber or whatnot, and you know, she would comment on some of my videos, and like, she was even in the chat for my first stream for Marvel Spider-Man 2, and she's like, hey, you know, I'm getting a new webcam. You want this? And I was like, sure. Why the hell not? And so yeah, just came in today, man. And yeah, I've been digging it, man. The webcam looks great, man. The audio quality sounds pretty good, man, after I did a little bit of adjusting, man. So tell me guys what you thought of the webcam, man. Do you prefer the sound of the other mic, man? Would you want me to go back to that one? What do you guys think of this for this review, man? And yeah, tell me all down below in the comments. I would like to know your opinions on that. And yeah, I've rambled on long enough, man. Let's just jump right into the actual episode. So we start the episode off right where we left off last week, with basically like the first opening 2 minutes of the episode just being like reusing footage from the original, from the first OVA special, whatever you want to call it. You know, ending right before we finally, after about 2 minutes, we finally get the new stuff after we get a title. Now, the weird thing I thought about this episode, and I don't know if this is just a version that I'm watching off, is that they announced like a few weeks ago, or like a couple days, like a few days ago for the episode, they're like, hey, OP, ED, Link Horizon's gonna be doing the OP and all that, you know, great stuff. Cool, I was hyped. You guys know I was hyped to finally see Link Horizon's return. But weirdly, neither the OP or the ED actually show up within the actual special. Like I said, I don't know if this is just somewhat the version of the OVA that I saw, and like, I don't know, maybe somewhere else, maybe the original TV broadcasting, they did have the OP and the ED included in there, man. Not exactly sure how they can, but they did. But they are out there. They are around. I just saw them right before I start recording from this this Instagram account that I follow that you guys made, that I've talked about a couple times, that does like reviews of the episodes and everything. You know, so I saw them through there. And first of all, the OP, man, I thought was great. Because I'm about to just talk about this right here, man. You know, I love the OP, man. Obviously, it was great stuff. Great to hear Link Horizon back at it again, man. But I love like the intermixing of using older footage from the previous season. Love when some sequences reanimated by Mappa themselves, man. Just a phenomenal, you know, OP, and a great way of bringing us back and showing us all the show us so many moments of what led up to here at AOT, man. Just a fantastic OP, man, and a great song. It's just so good to hear Link Horizon one last time for AOT. The EED was great. The EED I thought was really interesting because it was basically completely new. Like, it was a completely different art style than we have seen with AOT, man. So I don't know if Mappa just outsourced that to a different studio to do the EED, or maybe they just had some of their animators getting like really experimental with the art side of it. But it was focused entirely on Aaron and Mikasa, man. It was honestly really cute, man. You know, great EED as well. And I really dug the art style for it. And the song for it was really good as well. But between the two, I definitely like the OP a bit more. So anyway, back to the actual episode. I just wanted to quickly top of that real quick, so I'm sure you guys were wondering what I thought of the OP and the ED for the special. But anyway, once we get to new footage, we see the founder Ymir staring down, looking at some sleeping pigs. Before we quickly jump back over to Armin and the crew as they find that, of course, the Zeke that Reiner speared out of the air and beat up was nothing more than a husk, and that the real Zeke is somewhere hiding within this massive skeleton of Aaron and the founder type. Obviously, you got Jean being like, "Oh my God, how are we supposed to find him in this giant, you know, skeleton? There's no way we're gonna find him." This, that, and the third. They're all losing hope. Armin tells him that, you know, I'm gonna blow him in 1 minute. I'm gonna blow this place up. I'm gonna transform and blow this up. It probably won't kill him, but at the very least, we might be able to figure out where the hell Aaron, and Zeke are hiding within the founder's body. But before anything can get going, we see one of these Titans grab Armin, wraps his tongue around, and goes down and the tongue literally goes down his fucking throat too. And of course, let me make the obligatory, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going joke. And of course, runs away with Aaron. But then we head back to Yakapone as he finally did manage to make the crash land over to the area where all the soldiers and the Eldians are all hiding, are staying out watching the fight unfold as the plane crash landed. And then you got pieces and shrapnel everywhere from the fallen plane as some of the Eldians managed to get on Yakapone out there, but of course he is knocked unconscious as he crash landed a plane. He obviously hit his head and probably has a concussion as well. And then Annie's dad comes in there screaming out like, "Okay, can you hear me? Do you know of Annie Lionheart? She's my daughter." Yada yada. I'm like, bro, the man's unconscious. He can't hear shit. But then we head back over to Reiner and the crew, and of course they see this giant mask of Titans in front of them. Man, we learn that these are all previous Titan shifters, and I gotta say, man, like obviously there's a lot of these Titan shifters we've never seen before in the show, man. I gotta say, a lot of them, and if not all of them, had really unique design, man. You had like one that looked like a dragon. You have the one creature that, of course, took Armin away. I thought his design was pretty cool. You have like a ram Titan in there as well. One that looked like the Thing from Marvel Comics as well, man. There was a lot of really cool, unique designs in here, man, that I have to say, man, for these Titan shifters, man. They look really cool. Of course, you got Mikasa, man. She's ready to throw down there. She got that look in her eyes, man. She's ready to throw down, charge head first into the battlefield, take out these Titans, man, to, of course, save Armin. Levi is there to try and calm her down, to not make herself bait and obviously get herself killed by just jumping into this endless, swarm of Titans this endless swarm of Titans. And the crew started to lose hope, man. They're like, oh shit, we're fucked. Connie's saying like, we're no match to this, man. Before Pete charges headfirst into the battle, man. Once again, man, I have to say this real quick. And this is gonna be something I'm gonna be saying throughout the episode, man. But major props and shout out to the team over at Mappa, man. My God, the animation here was next level, man. Like, you guys know that, like, when they changed over to Mappa, man, everyone was complaining, like, oh, the Titans are CGI, the CGI looks terrible, this, that, there. And, Mappa has obviously since, made improvements in the CGI since that first core, man. I think we all can say, if anyone's still bitching about the CGI, you're a fucking idiot, man. Like, the CGI in the show looks amazing. I gotta say that, man. This scene where we got Pete running around from the Titans, man, jumping around, man, dodging, like, bro, the camera work, the animation itself, the CGI on the models, man, it all blended so well together, man. It just looked incredible, man. Just an incredible sequence. And shout out to all the animators that worked on these sequences and all the sequences, the major, like, action sequences of this episode, man, because they all did an amazing job, man. They were going off, man. The animation was just superb, just next level, man. And I also love this one part, like around the end of it, where Pink starts like grind, like looking like she's like rail grinding, like in Sonic, man, where she's like grabbing onto like some bone. You have like the sparks coming out, like she's like grind railing, like in a Sonic game, man. I just saw that. I was like, yeah, she's grinding, she's rail grinding, man. You love to see it. Before she like jumps over to where Aaron's like headed to his spine area, starts wrapping the dynamite around it, man, and is about to push that lever down there, man, to of course blow it up and everything. But of course, she is then taken over by the Warhammer Titan, stopped by them as she is impaled by his spear, whatever that triad thing or whatever that thing is called. I forget the exact name of that kind of weapon. Now, I have to say, this going back and looking at this episode in hindsight, man, after watching the episode, when we find out that Peak later on in the episode can basically transform in a limited amount of time, so long as she herself is not hurt. She can just, no matter how many times she gets stabbed in her time form, as long as she herself is okay, she doesn't worry. She doesn't have to worry. She can transform as many times as she wants. It doesn't be kind of wonder why she just kind of just stood there for like a good chunk of the episode, not doing anything until before doing all the Titan hunt. But I guess because she was already surrounded by Titans, the Warhammer Titan was right there. She probably thought that she couldn't do that without getting hurt by the Warhammer Titan, wouldn't be able to get the dynamite in time, man, given all this that. So that's probably why she just stood there for a while, man. But that was something I thought about when I was going back to the episode after I initially watched and filmed my reaction for it, which you guys know I did that, which will probably be dropping after the review, Monday or something. Because I'm recording this on Saturday, but I know I'm not going to finish this in time for Saturday, man, so more than likely I'll be posting the review on Sunday and the reaction on Monday. But anyway, that's my theory on why, that whole thing there. But then that's when Gilliard shows up, man. It was good to see him again, man. And, he slashed at Reiner's face, man. Literally, it fucks up his face pretty good, too, from that slash he did, before eventually we then see Jean. It looks like he's going to try and make a way for the diamond, but when he jumps off from like one of Aaron's bows, another Titan that I assume is a previous Jaw Titan, judging from the design and everything, tries to eat him, but of course he is saved by Levi. We then head over to back to the soldiers, man, as the commander tells to the remaining men, which isn't a lot, to try and man the cannons, to try and give the soldiers to give the Survey Corps some additional help. And they mentioned how most of their numbers was in the airship that were destroyed, and they only have enough to like man like 2 or 3 cannons at best. He's like, so is that a good enough reason to do nothing? So then we have her back to Levi and the crew. We see Levi once again. The animation here was spectacular, man. Levi going up against the Titans, taking them out one by one, taking them off one by one, man. In an amazing sequence, man. Probably the most hype part, at least of this portion of the episode, was seeing Levi going one-on-one, head-to-head, toe-to-toe against Gillier, and him like matching and like with Gillier like clawing at him, but Levi like blocking and deflecting his attacks with his swords, bro. Yo, it was the coolest shit ever, bro. I popped big for that moment. That shit was hype. We get to Mikasa taking 3 of the Titans down with some Thunder Spears. I'm gonna slip the name of that before we head back to Armin, as he realizes, he figures out that it was actually the founder Ymir is the one that kind of caused it to where he got, like, I guess you could say, eaten or taken away by one of the Titans. And thinks that if it was just Eren doing this was all just Eren, all he wanted to do was move forward. They probably wouldn't have this mass defense force against to stop them. So most likely this is the will of the founder Ymir, and that she wants to slaughter humanity as well. And Armin questions whether or not this is the end, if they will be defeated, and saying that the founder Ymir is invincible. Before we end this sequence off, where we see Bertolt crying for one of his eyes, as we then see one of the Titan husk things that Reiner and the crew are facing off against. We then see Bertolt's colossal Titan appear. And they're of course all shocked by this, and we see Bertolt fucking eat Reiner. He just bites his head out, man. I'm sure I wasn't the only person that legit thought the man was fucking dead. But no, he lives to fight another day, as Bertolt throws his decapitated corpse down to the ground. As we see that Reiner has fell in beneath the rib cage, but thanks to his ODM gear, he's kind of hooked up to one of the bones, so he's kind of just dangling there. John tries to go and save him, but of course his ODM gear is fucked as well, along with Reiner's, which I found kind of funny. They said oh, my ODM gear on the right side is busted, because later on in the episode it seems like his ODM gear is just fine again. So I don't know if it just managed to fix itself, off screen, man, or just some of the animators forget about the animators, or fucking Ishiyama Sensei just completely forgot about. They were just like, fuck that, whatever, it's all working. Yeah, but that's something I noticed. At least that's how it looked. That's how it was perceived to me. So of course Reiner's like, oh, drop me, John. I can still transform one more time. And John mentioned that you didn't get trapped by the Colossal Titans for being armored. Your Titan sure gets smashed up a lot, which I thought was kind of funny. And all this is going on, we see Connie. He is completely unconscious, knocked out from the Colossal Titan's attack, man. And Mikasa's trying to get him to wake up, man. But of course, nothing works. She takes down some Titans, but then there's this snake creature. Before we continue on with that, I just gotta say, this one shot of Mikasa as she's traveling underneath the rib cage, man. She passes, and she rides, swings through, and a few of the Colossal Titans' heads as they're passing through, as they walk past, man. That shot just absolutely incredible. But anyway, as I was saying, this snake creature comes out to try and eat Connie, but Levi manages to stop the creature and manages to defeat it. But he ends up getting getting his leg bitten by the Titan before all is said and done. That's of course when Connie finally wakes up and starts holding Levi. Mikasa's then left with a choice whether or not to go after Connie and Levi, or to go over with Bertolt and Reiner, as Mikasa declares that she is strong no matter how many times you attack. And this is of course the scene where we get, that was in the trailers, of the wings peering up behind her, man. And of course, Lavio's what the fuck? When did Mikasa start to grow wings? It looked cool as shit, the shot, but I've always wondered, how did she suddenly grow wings? Well, we finally find out why, and it's actually Falco's Titan form, where he has wings and everything, and he can fly. This shot was pretty cool. And we of course see that Annie as well as Gabby are on their back as well as they fly outside the closet for a hot second to get some breathing room. As we get a shot of Annie's dad before we head back over with the crew, and we find out that the Azumati Bito ship had been destroyed because it couldn't withstand Falco's transformation. They didn't even know if he could fly, but they decided, fuck it, let's try, and it worked. Azuma Bito's fate was rewarded, so they have now joined the battlefield in order to help try and stop the rumbling. And we also see that Gabby has brought a rifle on her to try and help give some support. One of those like Titan rifle things that like decapitate Eren in the second part of season 4. So at this point, the guys have realized, okay, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about. We need to kill Eren. Like, there is absolutely no way we can win this fight and not have to just think of the concept that we are going to have to kill Eren in order to do this. Obviously, Mikasa doesn't want to do this. Obviously, Connie and the crew, they don't want to kill their friend, but it seems like that is the only way. Mikasa starts crying, and Annie tells her to just focus on Eren, just to focus on saving Armin. As Levi mentioned, that they need to split up in 2 teams. Decide one team focus on helping and rescuing Armin, the other focusing on trying to get over to Peak, and to, of course, destroy the Nape with the dynamite. And Annie tries to help her out, telling her, don't think of anything, I'll just focus on saving Armin. So they circle around, they circle back, and get right back over to the attack site as we see the Marleyan soldiers are now working on getting the cannons together to help and give them some backup. This is when the rest of the where Annie's dad and the rest of the Eldians trying to join up with the Marleyans, and of course everyone starts pulling their guns out, and I'm like, bro, and this isn't the first time this has happened. As you guys know, something similar would happen again around the end of the episode. But I'm like, and that one was even a little bit more egregious because of what happened there. But we'll get to that when we get there. Not to jump ahead too far. But like, we have this dude. The dude gave this massive speech in the previous episode, the previous special OVA, whatever the fuck you want to call it. About like, oh, if we survive this, let's do better, and stop, killing each other and racism and all that shit against the Martians and the Eldians. We are all people. That whole thing from the previous episode. Literally, I'm like, bro, did that speech mean nothing? Like, were y'all even listening? Like, did you not hear what this man says? And yet everyone's got their guns out there ready to shoot them. They're like, oh, because, Annie's dad mentioned that they came here to try and help the wounded. They're wounded, and they're like, oh, we don't have time. What's your real objective? This, that, the third. More soldiers start to come out from the sides, including the conductor that they they stole his train from. He's there holding his pistol. Then the commander shows up there, grabs out his pistol, loads it up, or pulls the barrel, I should say, rather, and we hear a few shots ring up. At this point, I think the dude just shot Annie's dad dead. That's at least what was my theory and what I suspected happened up to this point in the episode. Obviously, we saw later on that was not the case. So, they get back into the fight. Reiner transforms, and he starts going to town, man. Hitting drop kicks, clotheslines from hell, man. No lie, I wish, man, because as you guys may know, Ishiyama Sensei based off a lot of the Titans, or at least Eren and Reiner based on UFC fighters, and the manga started publishing back when Brock Lesnar was still in the UFC. So, and Reiner's obviously based off him. I forget who Eren's Titan form was based off of. I don't really pay attention to UFC, but anyway, I was really hoping we could see Reiner go hitting these fools, taking these fools to Suplex City, man. As a wrestling fan, I would have liked to have seen some German suplexes from Reiner, but alas, we did not get any trips to Suplex City in this episode, unfortunately. Either way, once again, the animation looks great as we see him and Jean teaming up to try and get closer to Peak. This is when Peak finally decides to get out of her Tide form, runs down the whatever this fork weapon is called. I forget the name of it. Running down, so forcing to transform once again into the Titan form and bites the Warhammer's nape off before another Titan comes out of nowhere and just rips and just cuts her head off clean in half. Once again, Peak jumps out of her Titan form and re-transforms, as we find out that Peak isn't just there as support and doing objects, that she is indeed ready and is willing and able to go in for combat purposes as well. And because of the cart's endurance, as mentioned earlier on this episode, as long as she's fine, she can transform as many times as she needs to. So then we get back to Mikasa and Annie as this scene was pretty funny, where Mikasa tries to describe the Titan that took Armin, and obviously she can't because she doesn't know this creature is. Hell, I don't even know what the fuck this creature is. The episode calls it like a Okampi, if I'm pronouncing that right. And she has no idea. It's like, that thingy over there. It's like, I think it's he telling hey, trying to tell me, so what is it? It's like, it might be a beast. It could be a car titan. It could be, it could be a jaw titan. Because it's like, give me a serious description. She's like, I did. So then Connie sees this titan moving around there, and that's when Annie finds it. She's like, oh, an Okampi or whatever it is. And she's like, what the fuck is that? That was a nice little funny scene, man. That got me to chuckle. And then, so they jump right in there. We get over to Levi and Gabby. Which, okay, this is the one thing I thought was a little weird is that Levi mentions and like Connie mentioned this as well back earlier, a little bit earlier on the episode, right before they jump right back into the battle, where Levi mentions that because he's injured, he will be used as a battle. And I'm like, bro, your leg is injured. You're using ODM gear. You don't need to walk. So an injured leg would seem kind of irrelevant in this sort of situation, bro. It's not like you need to walk there. You're just going to be zipping around. So I don't know why an injured leg, I'm sure it hurts, but like, I don't think that would really harm Levi's chances or abilities in the battlefield that much, considering he's using ODM gear, but I don't know. Regardless of such, man, we hear from Levi as he mentions that he's never failed to carry out one of Erwin's orders before, not once, and he questions why this one has given him so much trouble, and questions if the lives that he gave in sacrifice existed to crush other lives underfoot. And he says no, that our dream of a world without time was supposed to be an astonishingly joyful world, an ideal world. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth the hearts they gave. And he mentions that he has no regrets of picking Armin over Erwin to entrust because he entrusts the future to someone with the same look in his eyes as you all did. And we see some shots of Sasha and Armin and not Sasha, Hanji and Erwin and conference. Levi's of course sitting in the corner, with like his tea or whatever he drinks, and then we see a shot which I think this was season 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was season 3. Right before we got to the second core when they were about to jump right into the battlefield back to the walls to reclaim them. And we saw Levi was kind of like watching them from behind a wall, and you could overhear what Armin, Mikasa, and Eren were talking about. So I think, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was season 3. That's when we head back over with Mikasa and Connie as they track down the Okampi, or whatever this creature is, or however you pronounce that name. With Connie, the one actually chasing after the Okampi, while Mikasa and Anne are face off against the Titans to try and get into it. So yes, we finally do get the team up. You guys know I was a little annoyed that we never got that one-on-one fight between Mikasa and Annie. That Ishiyama Sensei had been like dangling in front of us for like since season 1. I was always annoyed that we never got that full fight, or at the very least, we never got to see it. But hey, I was like, give me a team up and I'll be satisfied. And that's what we got right here, ladies. We got to see Annie and Mikasa team up, and it was fucking awesome. They take out some Titans. Mikasa eventually latches her ODM gear onto Annie's fist, and she uses it just to propel her forward to try and catch up to the two. She ends up getting met by someone who looks to be a former armor titan, which ends up breaking her blades off completely. And she eventually attaches them before returning back to Annie and shoulder with Connie as they try to regroup and figure out how to catch them. Then we get to the scene where Armin is screaming at his body to get his ass up. You're a waste of space. You betrayed me countless times. This scene, I have to say, was incredible, man. Like, shout outs to Armin's Japanese VA, man. She's incredible. Okay, yeah, if you guys did not know, Armin in the Japanese is actually voiced by a woman, which I did not know. I legit thought he was voiced by a dude this entire time. So shout out to her, man. And you guys know this is the one scene. Well, this scene and the infamous scene around the end of the episode, like the 2 moments I'm most looking forward to seeing when the dub of this drop, which hopefully won't take another 6 fucking months like the first one did. Hopefully, while Toonami was trying to get through all the red tape and shit with Japan to get the first special to air on Toonami. Hopefully, they've got some contract working where they won't have this, or the second one won't take another 6 months to get up, man. That's at least what I'm hoping for. We're back to 6 weeks, maybe like a couple months, man, 3 months, just not 6. So hopefully the next one will come out a lot faster, man, because you guys know me. If you guys have been like OG or long-time subscribers of the channel, you guys have been watching my reviews, I should say, for AOT. You guys know I've said countless times that Jessie is the MVP of the AOT dub, man. She has always been an incredible, like she is almost every time for every season, the best performance almost always usually come from her, man. She is the MVP of this dub, man, and I cannot wait to see this scene because she finna go off here, man. She is gonna finna go off here as Armin is screaming at his body to get the hell up, and this was just an incredible scene, man. This is just such an amazing scene, man. Once again, shout out to the voice to Armin's Japanese VA. So then we get to see more of the rumbling, where we see different locations. One that looks like more like a wintry location. One location looks like it's supposed to represent Asia, more specific probably Japan, and one that looks like it's supposed to represent India. That's at least for me just going off the locations. And one of them also looks like the African safari, although maybe it's Australia. I don't know, but that's what at least looks like to me. Now, of course, we see the rumbling just go through these buildings and just level them. And we also see one more location that I assume is meant to like represent kind of like London-y kind of thing. I'm not sure. But then we get to this sequence that had me very perplexed, I would say. So we see this group of people. They have been running from the rumbling, but they have reached a dead end, a cliffside that leads into like a very rogue waves of a waterfall and rocks everywhere. So if they fall down there, they try to jump there, try to escape the rumbling, they're most likely going to die before they even hit the water from like the rocks or something. But from here, the sequence goes into black and white. And as you guys know, I've said countless times, black and white is a lost art, and this sequence looked amazing because you have two characters that are only in color. This is like some shit out Schindler's List. By the way, I've never seen Schindler's List, so in case I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the guy did something similar. They had like this one girl that was like red. Her was her primary color, but like I said, I've never seen Schindler's List. One day I'll watch it. One day I will get to that film, but not today. Anyway, the people have gone to this cliffside. People are getting thrown overboard because of so many people are coming in there. And then eventually the mother gets to this cliffside and she falls over. And with her baby coming with her down, she reaches out, trying to catch it, trying for her baby. But one guy manages to save the baby. And he like this man Loki pulls up some like Odell Beckham Jr. type catch, where he's like leaning the far back, man. It's a shot that man like this man was like Odell Beckham Jr. man, and like that one iconic catch he had where it was like reached his arm out. That was like an impossible catch they made for like a touchdown or whatever. That's what this was. It was literally that. It was literally one of those impossible catches. How are you still on your feet to get the touchdown type catches, man? It was one of those catches. But he managed to grab the baby, saves the baby, and then pushes it forward as the baby starts like crowd surfing, if you will, from other people trying to get the baby away from the cliffside. Now, the entire time, and you guys will see some of my reactions as well, I am kind of confused on what the significance of this baby is. I thought this baby was supposed to be some pivotal character, or this would come back and tie into the end of the episode or something. Which, to be fair, the kid that we see at the end of the episode did kind of look like this baby, but obviously that wouldn't work with the timeline most likely because it looks like multiple years, if not decades, passed from the time skip where we saw that time lapse at the end of the episode. So I doubt it's that same kid. Now, Chibi had actually posted this screenshot of that scene. He said, "Surprised they kept this in. Damn." Once again, Chibi read the manga and all that. And once again, I'm like, is this scene supposed to have some kind of significance that I am supposed to be aware of, man? Because this entire time I have been confused. So I then posted on this. So then I made a reply to this one saying, okay, can someone explain to me the significance of this scene? And this one guy said that even during the end of the world, knowing they would die, they tried to keep the baby alive. So, and I'm kind of wondering, okay, what's the significance of this baby then? So judging from this, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please do, because I would love someone to like really try and explain this scene to me on like what exactly the scene's supposed to represent. But I'm assuming my interpretation of this, from what I see gathered from the scene, is that even though they were at the end of the world and people were dying, they still tried to keep this one baby alive, try and keep this one child alive, to try and keep life alive for one more time, to have another two as like their last hope, as some sort of hope to try and keep, so that life will survive or something like that, Life finds a way, as they say in Jurassic Park. Something like that. That's assuming what I'm going at, is that they were just trying, and then to try and keep this one child, like, even though everyone else here was most likely gonna die. They were trying to save this one child from the rumble. That's at least what my interpretation is. Am I wrong? If I'm off base, I probably am. So like I said, guys, please correct me in the comments, because this scene kind of confused me on what exactly the significance of the scene was supposed to be. But yeah, anyway, We get back to Armin. He realizes that there's sand in his hand. He realizes he's not in like the afterlife or he's like hallucinating or something. He is once again back at the past, which I think is actually the first time we've actually gotten a name for this location. I could be wrong on that one. It might have been the first special, but I don't remember. But look at this, the first time we have seen the past, or that this place was finally given a name. So Aaron's like, all right, cool, time to figure out a way to get out of here. And he literally turns around and boom, there's Zeke. Zeke is just chilling, man. He is sitting there, building some sandcastles. And obviously, and the man just looks done. He looks like he is just done with life, done with everything. He has given up on everything, and he's just like, there's no point. All things are meaningless. There's nothing there. That everything is meaningless. He is just done. So he explains that years ago, that all manner of insignificant things came into and out of life, but one thing survived and managed to survive, and that is life. We see this creature or this thing form and morph. And it kind of like, as we see it morph, it kind of turns more into the actual the creature, whatever the spirit that the founder Ymir is, that centipede looking creature when it went into Aaron's body or went into his decapitate after fucking Gabby shot up, man. It looked kind of like that creature. Not entirely sure if that was done on purpose or not or what, but that's what at least it kind of looked like to me. So Zeke continues on explaining. We now see that he now has built a full sand castle, going on here. And saying that at the end of the day, the reason for life to survive was that it has the ability to multiply, and that is the meaning of life. That is all what life is supposed to be. It is meant for us just to multiply. It says, considering that death and extinction run counter to the goals of multiplying, we are deterred from meeting our ends by the punishment we know as fear. Like any of us, she, the founder Ymir, she did whatever she could to escape the pain of experiencing that. So she created a stronger, bigger, normal body, and then escaped into a world where death did not exist. That is the truth of the founder Ymir, and this is the world where death does not exist. So Armin asks him what is the objective of the founder Ymir, and Zeke tells him they spent a maddening time trying to understand her. But even with all his power, she could never defy King Fritz. What would make her stay for 2,000 long years, obey King Fritz all the while? There was something that she couldn't let go of. That much is clear. He could, but he failed to understand what made the founder Ymir tick and what she was really afterward. Aaron was the one who was, and that's why she ended up working with him, or siding with him, excuse me. And then of course Armin asks him how the hell do you get out of this world? And Zeke says, I don't even think it's possible. But of course, Armin, he's not ready to give up that easily, and he will find a way. And he mentions about how his friends are fighting, and that they are fighting their fear, and that we can't give up right now. And then Zeke tells him, what is wrong with defeat? What is wrong with what is wrong with being defeated or killed by fear? With how meaningless life is, death may finally give us some peace, where you will no longer be burdened by the responsibility of multiplying. That's kind of like a more of a bridge version of what Zeke says, man. Also, this whole conversation I thought was pretty cool, man. Between them. And also, I gotta say this real now. Before I forget, I gotta say this. The music throughout this whole special man was fantastic, man. The OST, the music here, the music that we saw, during the fights with Connie and the crewman, and then of course we see later on the episode, of course, the end credit songs. Fantastic music, man. Shout out to the composer for AOT, man. The OST for the special was absolutely incredible. So then Armin finds this leaf in the sand, and he reminisces about this moment where he was racing with Aaron and Mikasa, racing up to a tree on top of the hill. Aaron started running the moment he met his race, so he of course was in the lead. Mikasa was close behind, and of course Armin was last. And he mentions how the wind was blowing out, the wind was slightly warm and blowing pretty fast, and that it felt so good just running, and it was picking up all the dead leaves and blowing them away. And as they were running up the hill, Armin questioned whether he wondered if he was born just so that he could raise Aaron and Mikasa up the hill. And he mentions other moments, small moments, insignificant moments that have no really relevance to multiplying on things like that, which is what I guess you could say is the meaning of life, is to multiply, or at least according to Zeke. Like when he was reading books inside a rainy day, or feeding acorns to squirrels, or walking around the marketplace. All of these were all very insignificant moments that had nothing to do with multiplying, but they were all small. But these insignificant moments to him were very precious to him. And this I thought was pretty cool, because Armin sees a leaf because it represents these insignificant, precious moments to him, like when he was racing against Aaron and Mikasa. But to Zeke, it's a baseball, obviously, because for him, the incredible precious moment that was insignificant in the long run was just playing catch with the former Beast Titan. He said and he even says this later on, a little bit later on the episode, that he would have just been happy if they just played catch endlessly. So that was pretty cool that he sees a lead, but Zeke ends up seeing a baseball bat, and of course he's perplexed by this and wondering where he got it and everything, man. This whole sequence, man, I thought was just fantastic, man. Just a really like I'm sure there are people that could analyze the shit out of this, make like 5-hour-long videos, just like deconstructing this and dissecting this episode, man, and like what Ishiyama is getting at with his various themes and shit, man. Like I ain't got the smart or the time or the patience for any of that, man. But I thought this was pretty cool, man. I thought this was really cool. But anyway, right after that, we then see the previous Titan shippers that we've known throughout the show, like Grisha, Zeke, the Farm Beast Titan, Gilliard, and you're paying attention, you can actually see Ymir in the background if you're paying attention, which was nice to see her again. All pop up before we head back over to the fight. And John saves Pete from getting eaten. Her arm was injured, but she'll be back in the fight when she's healed up. So they decide, like, okay, it's time to retreat back to Reiner's position. And then they find Reiner, and he is very much defeated, man. He's on the ground. His armor is coming off on his face. Man has been is covered up and has a bunch of arrows in him, bro. Like the man looks done. You guys see my reaction? I was like bursting out loud. I was like, goddamn, bro. So then I believe what looks to be Jaw Titans go after them, try to eat them, but they managed to die. But they managed to get out of the way thanks to Annie, and that's when Bertolt Claw Time actually starts swiping up at the Titans that are on the ground and throwing them off the founder. And everyone's like, of course, perplexed. What the hell? Bertolt just say? Did Bertolt just save us? Connie asks. And we see him. We also see other Titans. We of course see we see Gilliard, Grisha and his Titan form, man. Like all the previous Titans. Ymir also gets a small cameo as well, which, like I said, was good to see her back again, man. So they're all helping them out, fighting to face off against the rest of the Titans, man. They use this opportunity because once again give chase to the Okapi, manages to finally catch up to him. And finally managed to catch after Gabby actually shoots him with his rifle. Which one thing I thought was interesting, right before we get to Mikasa back, is that you can actually see that Levi was holding her, had his arms on her shoulder behind her, which I'm assuming that was done to help her absorb the recoil from this big ass gun. Because y'all remember what happened last time? She got sent flying after she fired that fucking thing. So I assume Levi was there to help her absorb the recoil a little bit. At least that's what I assume. So. But anyway, Mikasa catches up, slices open his mouth, and finally manages to grab Armin. But before Mikasa could finally grab him, the Okapi, he was like, nah, bro, I got one more in me. I'm not done yet. I ain't fucking done yet. Sets his tongue out there, ends up piercing through Armin's leg, and Armin then just fires off one of his thunder spears, and he just takes it right to the fucking face, man. This was awesome, man. And Annie's the one that manages to catch before he falls down to the ground. Which is nice to see. And then we see Zeke. Yes, he's like, oh, hi, Levi! What's up, bro? I'm sure you want to see it. I didn't want to see it. I was like, goddamn. And now, up to this point, and then, of course, Armin explains what's going on, that they connected via their comm with the past, and they suspect that what the founder Ymir wants is connections, and she wants something from all of them. And so we see them kind of talking with them. We see Grisha saying that if it meant playing catch with you, apologizing to him that he didn't get their dream, and saying the euthanasia plan was right. Which in comparison to that, yeah, Zeke is right that this was the better option. But he says that even if I wouldn't mind being born again, if it meant that I got to play catch with you again. And then he thanks Grisha for at least that much, which was nice to see. And then we see Armin talking to Bertolt as he says that he's sorry that they took everything from him, your life, your powers, even your treasured memories. And then we get this really nice shot of Armin and Zeke back to back as they say, please lend us a hand. So then Zeke overlooks the horizon, oh, the weather looks great today. The weather is great. The weather is downright lovely. And at this point, I'm thinking Levi ain't gonna kill him. Because, he isn't going up about how he's weakened, he being a nuisance. And, all this would happen with Levi. I didn't think Levi was gonna kill him. So I was is Levi not gonna get his revenge? Is he gonna let Zeke live, at least for right now? No! That man just decapitates him! I just started bursting out laughing here, man. This was the funniest shit ever. Just like, oh yeah, Zeke's just enjoyed the weather. And then bam, Levi comes in there and decapitates him. So Levi finally got his revenge, man. About goddamn time. You love to see it. So after all this, the colossal titan stops. So in theory, the rumbling has finally stopped. So we get over back to the area that was in black and white by the cliffside, and we see that the man is like the color restores to it as like the man that's when he puts his arms back down there. You see some of the other civilians going there and like trying to reach up and pull up the people that fell over the cliff that just were hanging on the ledge and they managed to catch before they would fall to their deaths. So, and then we get to Jean rushing in there for the Diamond Man. The animation here looked incredible. The Mutalist team was going up. It's up, it's up! You know, that whole song, man. Oh my god, that song's so good, man. Oh, that song is so good. He managed to get to the detonator, blows it the fuck up. Aaron's head falls down to the ground. The Founder Ymir's centipede thing comes out, of course, trying to reconnect with Aaron's head, but Reiner stops it as Armin goes in there and unleashes the Colossal Titan, blowing it the fuck up. And then as all this is, first I gotta say, whoever animated the explosion when Armin transformed, man, shout outs to you, man. The explosion here looked amazing. Seriously, man, that explosion was really good. And then we find out, while all of this is happening, you know, they're fighting for their lives, the rumbling, all that, we find out that Historia is giving birth. She is in labor as all this shit is going down, bro. I'm looking at this like, goddamn, bro. Like, you picked a hell of a time to give birth, Historia, man. Like, real shit. Real shit. You picked one hell of a time to give birth. The baby was like, nah, man, today's the day. Today is the fucking day. The world is ending. This is the day I want to be born on. Like, I was like, goddamn, bro, this is like one hell of a time to give birth. So we then head over back to the crew after the explosion, and we see a bunch of guys rushing over to Reiner's mom, asking her if she's okay when we get back over to Mikasa and everyone else. And then she starts having the headaches and flashbacks to the last time they spoke, which is, of course, the time when, when Aaron, said, believe me when I say this, Mikasa, ever since I was a kid, I hated you. But y'all remember my review of that episode, I made jokes, so this is what Ishiyama really thinks of the Aaron Mikasa shippers. Going on and like, oh, he took every piece of fan audio verse, and cut it up, burned it, and then pissed off the ashes, That episode was crazy, man. That shit was crazy, bro. That episode, man. Like, I was like, every Aaron Mikasa shipper was on a fucking watch list by that point. All of them were on suicide watch when that episode aired. But anyway, after that, this is when everyone starts to reunite with family. We see Peak reuniting with her parents, Falco, Gabby, everyone. They're all crying, they're all bawling their eyes out, finally being reunited with their families after so long. And we see Armin, he's A-okay as he starts to come out from the rubble, but we see the Founder Ymir still lives to fight another day. And so they start running, and then we have Reiner and Armin going after the Founder before we actually see. Before, of course, Aaron comes back for round 3. He is now in his Titan form. It looks more like a Colossal Titan now, is what this form looks like. Kind of, at least around from the height of the design a little bit this year. So, they're ready to throw down. It is time for round, 3 now of Aaron versus Armin, I think we're on. Maybe round 2. I'm not sure. But it's time for them to throw down. And then we see the Founder excretes this, mist, this vapor out into the air that kind of surrounds this area. But at that point, no one really knows what's going on. We see that the Annie's head is very much still alive. The dude, all he did was empty his gun into the air to get everyone to calm the fuck down and stop them from killing each other. This is, of course, when Annie meets up with them, and they, of course, have their little moment, which is nice to see. And then this is when the mist starts to get more and more, and that's when they realize that this is the same mist used by Zeke in the village that turned Connie's mom into a Titan. So by this point, they know what's going to happen, and they know that the Titan shippers and the Arcarmans are immune, so they got to get the fuck out of there while everyone else eventually transforms. And it was really kind of cool seeing the different Titan designs for the various characters. Like we see Connie's in there, Jean, Annie's dad, of course. So then we get this really cool shot that I thought was really fucking cool of the Founder Ymir charging towards Aaron, because I'm assuming the Founder was using the mist to get the Titan so they would go over to Aaron so that she would know where they are so she could reconnect with Aaron. That's at least why I'm assuming what's going on. But because the Founder starts making a beeline towards Aaron, but of course Reiner's right there stopping. And that shot we get when he's when he like stopped, when he like grabs the founder, man, yo, that shot goes hard, bro. That shot looks amazing. So we see then Pete comes in there trying to bite at it, and he's trying to stop it as well. The other Titans manage to come in there. Of course, Reiner realizes what's going on. They're all shifting the Titans. He sees his mom. He's like, "This is hell." Like when will this end? And Armin looks at Aaron. He's like, "Oh, you really enjoying hell, don't you, Aaron?" I'm like, "Fine. We'll find this dude. We'll do this your way." Now I'm like, "Yeah, talk your shit, Armin. It's time for us to throw the fuck down." So we then get back to Mikasa. She's like, "This is too much. It's too much. Take me back. I want to go back home." And that's when we switch to like some sort of alternate reality where Eren and Mikasa are happily together. I guess you would, I'm sure to the shippers, this would be considered the good ending of AOT. This is the good ending. So in this good timeline, we find out that basically when they had returned to Marlia, instead of going in, Eren doing his thing where they're like, "We are going through with the war," where he went into the battlefield and like shot himself and got into like one of the hospitals, and then was talking with fucking Falco and set everything into motion with Marley and attacking them. He decided that day that they just ran away from that place and just hiding and enjoy the remaining of their lives together, alone, away from everyone. He also mentioned how they couldn't put Mikasa or Story, through a plunger into an endless cycle of killing. He couldn't, bring genocide to everyone outside. Well, literally the exact opposite of everything that has happened in this up to this point during this argument. Like I said, I guess you could consider this like the good ending of AOT, I guess you could say. So, and then they kind of like hug, and Eren, says, "Once I'm dead, throw away the scarf. Please Mikasa completely forget about me." And I've also noticed that there's definitely some parallels, but I've noticed with this one, parallels between this alternate timeline and that flashback we got during the first special when Mikasa was like Eren waking him up, which I think was like from the first chapter. Now, if I remember correctly, some tweets I saw. It kind of reminded me of that. It was like a bit of very reminiscent of that, I noticed. So we get back to the present. Mikasa, she finally pulls out the scarf. Up to this point, where I was also curious if she did lose it or did she have it on her because we hadn't seen it up to this point. She puts it on there, uses like a bandana to like cover her mouth, obviously from all the smoke emitting from Eren and Armin's colossal Titan forms. Puts that on. The music starts going crazy, and the animation here just goes insane as they rush towards Eren to get in there to finally kill him, man. And oh my god, bro, the animation here was insane, bro. Like it legit feels like Mappa has been making up for lots of, because you guys know me, and I'm sure a lot of people mention how the ODM sections have just not been as good as they were with studios was doing them. They just haven't been as insane. The animation hasn't been as good. They haven't been as insanely crazy with the camera angles, the movement, and everything. They just haven't really been as good. They've been fine, but they haven't really been stylish or going all that crazy. But there was that one section where we got in at the end of the second core of the final season, around the end of it, man, that was insane. And now we got this section, man. And honestly, there's been tons throughout this episode where they kind of been great, but this one in particular felt like it was done by Witch animators themselves, man. They were going crazy with Levi zooming across the debris, sliding down that wooden plank in season 3, man. It just looked absolutely insane, man. This sequence looked incredible, man. Shout out to all the animators that worked on the sequence, man. It looked incredible. So then they managed to blow a hole into Eren's teeth. Mikasa rushes in there and decapitates him. And then, of course, shippers rejoice! Mikasa kisses Eren's decapitated head. Rejoice! Rejoice! I know, I'm noticing this right now, because I know, if this sounds like I'm kind of insulting or making fun of Eren and Mikasa shippers, I'm not, you guys know me, if you guys have been watching videos before, I've never been one for the ships in the AOT, it wasn't until, the first special where I became a hardcore, Armin and, Annie shipper. Before that, I was kind of indifferent towards it. I haven't really been invested in any of the ships of AOT, but before this special came, if you had put a gun to my head and told me to pick a ship for AOT that it would have been Eren and Mikasa. I did like their dynamic, man. So, I was also a little bit yay, finally, they did it, I was happy for Mikasa, and I'm sure the shippers were ecstatic when they saw this. And I guess this shot looks really nice, too, with the founder Ymir behind Mikasa, as she kisses Eren. A really good shot, really good shot. This is when we get the final title card. I haven't even mentioned this video, but we get the final title card, final chapter towards the tree on that hill. So then, we get to whatever this is, where we see Aaron and Armin talking as kids, but Aaron is in his current outfit, and Armin's just like, bro, did you really need to beat me up that much, bro? Like, was that knee to the stomach really all that necessary, bro? Opposite referred to when they were fighting, and I believe that was the first quarter. Was all when all that was going down, bro. So yeah, like I was in a lot of I'm like, what the fuck's going on? How are they discussing? Why are they kids now? Who cares at this point, man? Who the hell cares? And so Aaron thinks apologizes, like, yeah, sorry, I was just doing whatever I could to push you guys away, but I was getting ahead of myself, and he says, like, I'm sorry. And then Armin tells him, don't apologize to Mikasa. And we kind of get, like, an idea of what Aaron's plan has been this whole time, obviously pushing his friends away so they would kill him, and that they would be the heroes that they would become the heroes, and that would hopefully stop Marley and other people from going after Parents because they did defeat the Titans, they kept their humanity and all that. So that seems to be what Aaron's plan was all along. But Armin tells them that there's no way that they could be the heroes. Sorry to disappoint you. And so they continue walking, and Aaron tells Armin to walk with him as he tells them about the founder Ymir. So then they get to what looks to be inside a volcano. They finally see the fiery water that was in Armin's book, and so we find out that the founder Ymir had loved King Fritz and was subservient to him for 2,000 years. And this man, bro, he burned down her house. He killed her parents, and he ripped out her tongue, bro. By all accounts, the King Fritz is an asshole. And the founder Ymir had every reason to kill this man, because of what happened. Yet even when she attained like this godlike power, yet she remains subservient. Like this is all I am just kind of like giving you guys like a summarized version of what Aaron says. I'm not going to do because I couldn't do it justice, man. And this video would be like twice long if I did this beat for beat. So I'm just going to summarize all this because there was a lot of dialogue here, man. Trying to get to the bits of it, to the point of it. So anyway, as I was saying, the founder Ymir had all this, but yet the founder Ymir remained subservient to King Fritz for 2,000 years. And the reason for that is because she loved him. How? After all that, your answer is as good as mine. Your theory is as good as mine why that is. But hey, that's love, I guess. I could make a little Smith joke right now, but I will refrain. Anyway, so, of course, Armin's wondering how the hell is that possible. Aaron explains that, he cannot understand the deepest depth of the founder Ymir's heart, but he knows for the fact that she was suffering throughout all those 2,000 years, and was looking for someone to finally break her free and to finally break her free of this suffering, and that's what ended up being Mikasa. Now, the episode never explains why the founder Ymir picked Mikasa, or why it was her the one that set her free. But I have a couple theories. So this is my interpretation. I think the reason for this, of why she picked Mikasa, was because they are both slaves to their love. Because, of course, Mikasa, she is in love with Aaron. She has loved Aaron since, the day he saved her. All those years ago back in season 1. And, while, of course, Aaron didn't, burn her place down, murder her parents, and rip her tongue out, Aaron did, really hurt Mikasa's feelings when they last spoke. There's that. But obviously, they're not very comparable to each other in that front. But she is still a slave to her love for Aaron because, of course, of her Ackerman blood and her wanting to protect him no matter what. Which I think ended up being confirmed. That was all bullshit in the second core, but I'm not entirely sure. Or maybe they thought it was bullshit, but it was actually true. Not entirely sure, man. It's been a while since because I haven't watched the older episodes of the AOT since they aired on Tsunami, so it's been a while since I've seen a lot of these episodes. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But that's the reason why. But she was able to actually kill her love. She was able to kill Aaron, and because that was who she loved. I'm assuming that's what broke her free. Because while the founder Ymir could never bring herself to finally kill her lover, King Fritz, Mikasa was, and I'm assuming that's why she picked her, and that is why she was finally able to be free from her suffering, was because Mikasa was able to do what she couldn't, and that was, of course, kill her lover, kill the thing that was enslaving her. That's at least what my interpretation of this scene is. So, of course, Armin is absolutely flabbergasted. That was Mikasa. That is the one that the founder Ymir picked. And then we find out that because of the founder's powers, and I guess this kind of explains how this whole thing has been going on with Aaron, and kind of his influencing on time thing where there is no present, there is no past or future. Everything is all present. So it seems like whatever. So that probably explains why he was able to, like, I guess you could say, influence the past by making Horatio go out there and kill off the royal family to, of course, inherit the Titans and eat them and all that shit. And get the Titans before he can turn to Eren and all that shit. But it also seems like he was the one that actually sent the Smiling Tide, who you guys know was Horatio's first wife, after Eren's mom to set all this in motion because it had to be her. Bertolt still had to live for up to this point, and he ended up sending it to his mother. That's just what I think of it. Like, that's at least how it came up to me. I could be wrong on that one, so like, once again, guys, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, or just if you guys can better explain the scene, please do so. So yeah, Eren's the one that killed his mom. Apparently, it seems like crazy shit. So now they've now transitioned to this other area. Now they're in their current time. Now they're in their current, tires and looks now. So then Armin asks him, how did it go with Mikasa? Do you think she's going to be able to forget about you and live happily with someone else? And Eren just says, I don't know. And then Armin just Falcon punches his ass and starts screaming out, what kind of answer is that? I still have forgiven you. How do you feel about the fact you ignored Mikasa's feelings? Do you think you could just say, forget about me, and that would be that? And that she's only ever had eyes, and that she's risked her life and has only had eyes for you? And then this is when it just gets weird for a hot second, bro. Armin has this, like, really smug-ass smile. Like a very almost Joker-esque smile, bro. He's like, well, she might just find a good guy sooner than you think and hit it off with him. Like, I don't know what the hell possessed Armin to do this, bro. Like, what the hell possessed him to smile like that, bro? And then we, of course, get to the infamous scene of Eren having a mental breakdown. And, listen, first of all, I know this is definitely a scene that definitely from some tweets I saw, this scene got changed from when it originally was written in the manga. They apparently added some dialogue to it and changed it up. So this scene was definitely changed up compared to when it was originally written in the manga. And so Eren says, that killed me. I don't want her to find someone. I want to be her own one and only for the rest of my life. And after I die, I want her to pine after me for at least 10 years. I love that Eren has a specific time and place where he's like, okay, this is the cop. This is how long I need Mikasa to still love me before she finds somebody else. He needs to still be in love with him for about a decade. And then she can... That's at least what I find fun. That's what cracked me up, like, bro. He had a specific time and place. Like, no. I need Mikasa to pine after me for this long before she finds someone else. I just find that funny. Now, I have seen a handful of memes pop up since, and they've been pretty funny, I gotta say. And apparently there were even more memes when this chapter originally came out there, and they're super funny. But yeah, there were definitely some funny memes from this, man. But listen, man, I gotta say this real quick, man. Like, this is nothing new, This is not really that out of character for Eren. I'm sure this was definitely a very controversial scene in the manga, and probably one of the reasons why a lot of people were not high on the ending of the manga when it originally came out. Because, I'm sure to all the edgelords out there who looked up as Eren as like this cold-hearted edgelord that don't give a fuck about it, that's this badass and don't give a fuck about nothing. Like, what the hell? Why'd they turn my MC into an incel? Why'd they turn him into a bitch? A pussy, I can understand from that, but like, to people but you gotta remember, Eren is a depressed, traumatized, 19-year-old kid that ate his dad, watched his mom die right in front when he's a kid, and has been repressing his emotions for like, 2 or 3 years, since basically the end of season 3 up to this point. Like, him having a mental breakdown is not that out of the question, bro. And this man been having breakdowns on the entire series, man. You had the one in season 2, you had the one in season 3, like, this isn't really that out of the question, man. Now, him kind of like, going on about him having, Mikasa to pine after him for 10 years, it's a little crazy. It's a little out there, I have to say, man. That part cracked me up. But yeah, like, me personally, man, I don't think this like ruins AOT or ruined Eren a character, man. I think this is very in line with this character, if you ask me, man. Me personally, this is the other scene I'm real looking forward to seeing the dub, because I'm just curious how Bryce portrays this scene, man. Like, that's the one thing I'm gonna. And I'm sure there'll probably be some people like, oh my god, bro, why I hate this English dub. They make Eren sound so whiny or something, because I do gotta admit, Bryce kind of has a voice where he can make certain characters sound super whiny if he wants to. I will say that much, but you guys guys know how much I love Bryce as the voice of Iron Man. I love his portrayal as Iron Man. You guys saw the man went off throughout when the first special file of Iron Man, his performance when, he was, and also him breaking down in front of the kid, in the pre-special. I just remember that scene. His performance there was incredible, bro. Bryce went off as Iron Man. So I'm looking forward to seeing what his performance, how he's going to sound and portray this scene. But yeah, of course, Armin, like the fan base, is perplexed, confused. He fucking flabbergasted as he's like, wow, I didn't think you ever say anything that pathetic. And then he tells him not to tell Mikasa any of this. So from here, we basically find out that he really didn't want to, that he was trying to save his friends, but he really couldn't, and that no matter how much he tried, all that they were able to save was 80%, or rather 80. They were only able to save 20% of the population from the rumbling. 80% was what he was able to stomp out. And it seemed like Eren tried various different ways to try and see if maybe they could try to get something better, but they can't. It always ended up being 80%, and because of that 8% of that population, now there's only 20% left. The conflict will never end. War is a forever constant, and no matter how much they try to change it, that's what's going to happen. That this was almost meaningless. We also see some flashbacks of Eren's birth with Carisha, which is always a pleasure to see him. And then he realized that the reason for all this is because he's just a dumb idiot that got power, and that this resolution was really the only outcome because of that. We also see Eren also goes into the water after it's been turned blood red with some stuff in the water. I think it might be the skeletons of colossal titans, but I'm not entirely sure. But he goes into the water and pulls out a bunch of hair with some teeth in it. I don't know who this is. Is this Eren's hair and teeth? Is this Mikasa's? Is this Hanji's? Whose hair and teeth is in his hand? But anyway, as they continue on, Armin eventually finds the seashell from the end of season 3, and then he hands it over to Eren and says that he too kind of wanted this resolution as well, because he's the one that showed Eren the book that put the idea of a free, unoccupied world in his head with all these wonders like the sand and the lava and that sort. And so he hands him the seashell, which, like I said, Eren still has all the hair and teeth in his hand. Whose hair and teeth is this in his hand, man? Can someone please tell me this? But anyway. So he continues on. He thanks Eren for showing him, outside of the walls, for showing him this side, and that they will be together again in hell, assuming that it exists. So they hug it out. Eren tells them that he'll wipe his memories and that they'll meet, that he'll remember when all is said and done, and their next meeting will be in the afterlife when they're both, burning in hell, I guess, assuming that's where they go. And then we cut over back to the scene where Armin was with Annie on the boat. The scene that turned me into a massive Armin Annie shipper, which makes me think that the time that this whole thing with Armin happened with Eren happened right before this, maybe through the path, and that's how he was able to see all that. And then he forgot about that, and then after this he remembered him. That's at least how it's coming up to me on how this is happening. I could be wrong on that one, but that's at least how the timeline of events looks like to me. So then we get back to the present where Armin is waking up after his battle with Armin. You see their colossal titan skeletons in the background. Armin finally wakes up, and then he sees Mikasa holding Eren's decapitated head. Of course, he rushes towards her, grabs his head, and starts bawling his eyes out at seeing his fallen friend dead. And then Mikasa says to him that, I better go now because otherwise if I stay around here, he probably won't get a proper burial. So she runs asks if he remembers the place where he used to take naps. Armin tells him that sounds like a great place to bury him. So after that, we then find out that I guess other cast members all had conversations with Eren and that they're all remembering it now. Although, Gabby's face, bro, is low-key kind of mean, where the way her mouth is open like that. That is low-key kind of mean-worthy. And we find out, basically through the death of Eren, that the power of the Titans has been erased from the world. So Eren did accomplish his goal that he declared all the way back in Season 1, that he would kill all the Titans, as, that's basically what he did. And I love how all this is going on there, bro. You have this amazing song playing. I don't know whose song it was. If this is Link Horizon or what band or whatever. The song is amazing. I don't know how all this is going on there. People are having the most. You just got peak, lying on the ground, just chilling. So man, I wish I could have had some time. I wish it would have been nice to have a chat with them. I just love that Peak is just chilling on the ground. Nothing happened, bro. She just vibing, bro. She is vibing after the battle. So we see characters once again reunite. We finally see Annie and her dad finally hug it out. They have their little moment, which is nice to see. We then see Levi as he sees all of his fallen comrades, of course, led by Erwin and Hanji. And this moment was awesome, man. As he as everyone does the salutes, when we see him cry a little bit too. Well, yeah, we get to see him actually show some fucking emotion. I know, shock, but that was an amazing moment, man. And then we see Connie and John as they see Sasha one last time. She has this massive smile on her face, bro. Such an amazing. This was just such an amazing sequence, man. Just an amazing sequence, man. This is when it really hit. Goddamn, bro, we really are at the end of the era. We are really at the end of this series. It really is the end of the era. Hanji and not Hanji, Gabby and Falco hugging out, man. Although it looks like you can actually see them kind of tackle, you see Falco tackle Gabby to the ground in the background of the next scene where it's with Reiner and his mom. It looks like, I don't know, you can't see, but you see some movement going on, the smoke behind them, so I think it's them, but I could be wrong. Anyway, either way, man. We also get to see, basically Reiner's mom apologized to Reiner, saying that, that she's glad that he no longer has a Titan, and that all this time she is so sorry. And so as we see Mikasa taking her lead into the smoke, we see her reunion, we see her meet with the founder Ymir, and she mentions how that no matter that her love was nothing but a long nightmare. We get to see this flash of what looks to be of King Fritz dead. Now, I don't know if this was mentioned in the flashback when we got all of everything going around with the founder Ymir, her Baxter, and everything back on the second core. Like I said, it's been a while, so I don't know if that was mentioned there. But we don't know who killed him. Was it Ymir that killed him? Probably not, because of everything that's been happening. Could have been somebody else. Was he just assassinated? Who knows? But we see him dead as she holding her children, and it looks like she is relieved that she's finally freed of this man. It looks like. But either way, man, we then get a flash. We then hear some from some narration from his story, which I first thought it was Mikasa, but given what we see after this, it looks like it was actually Historia that was doing the narration here. But we see it's been 3 years since the events since the battle. Mika, Soria is obviously happy with her daughter as they celebrate her birthday. Once again, bro, hell of a day to give birth, man, on such a battle. But we find out that on Paradis, a new military order had risen up afterwards out of fear of the retaliation from the surviving population from outside the walls, led by the Jaegerists. Yes, these fuckers are still around somehow. I don't know how they're still around after everything, man, but they are, and which just kind of was a little confusing to me because, Historia is the leader of Eldia and everything, man. So it made me kind of wonder, why would she let this happen or sign up? Because we see her wearing the uniform too around the end of the flashback, or I guess, flashback or whatever you want to call it. Which made me kind of wonder, why would she? Because it seemed like she was very much with everyone else about the whole anti-war thing and genocide and all that shit. So it makes it kind of weird how she would be, approve of this or nothing. But maybe there's something I'm missing or something. I don't know. You guys can tell me down below in the comments, man. But as we see all this going on, we do get to see a quick shot of the journalist from season 3. We also get to see Kea in the background, and of course, Nicola, which just seeing him, man, just reminded me about Billy. Billy Kamzet. I have no way to pronounce his last name. Who you guys know who voiced him in the dub. Who you guys may also know died a couple years ago from colon cancer back in 2022. So, just seeing him just reminded me of Billy, man. Billy, man, such an incredible voice actor, man. Gone too soon, man. And I was also kind of glad he didn't get any spoken dialogue just so no one would have to step in and, replace him, Gone too soon, man. Billy was such an incredible voice actor. You guys saw in my reviews, I mentioned how great of a voice actor he is. I, of course, talked about how good he was as Joseph in Part 4 when I was reviewing that, man. Just gone too soon, man. He was also the, I forget his name, but the Dr. character that was introduced in P5 Royal as well. So, just an incredible voice actor, man. Just gone too soon, man. Gone too soon. Anyway, we then head back with Armin and the crew, and we see Armin has a new fresh look, man. I dig his new look. I love his new hairstyle he got going on there. You got John messing around the mirror, combing his hair, make sure it looks good. And then you got Ryder. Loki sipping for a story, bro. He's like, I can't believe how beautiful her handwriting is. It smells good too. I'm like, bro, why are you sipping for a story, bro? Like, This is kind of bizarre. And John tells him, bro, don't lust over married women. It's creepy. And then Pink mentions like, bro, why have no you've been like obsessed with the hair? John's of course making sure his hair looks all nice for all the ladies, that are reading about them in the history books and all that shit. So we find out that they're basically heading over back to Paradis to try and work out some peace talk with like the Allied forces, which I'm assuming are, Marlia and the other remaining members of humanity that managed to serve the other 20% of humanity that survived the rumbling. And try to see if they can work out some sort of like peace treaty or whatever to keep them from having there be even more bloodshed. We get this amazing song that's playing that was amazing, and we'll see Annie again, which I have to say, bro, it is so weird seeing her having butter suit or in her hoodie, excuse me. Seeing her in a suit just felt weird, man. And I will say this much: if there was one brawl I had with this episode, I would have liked us to get some confirmation about Annie and Armin being a thing. A kiss on the cheek is all I would have been enough to satisfy me, bro. That's like my one problem. We didn't get anything with that, bro. But like, all I asked for was them to be, happy together, and survive all this. And I kind of got my wish, so I'll take that. I'll take that at the very least. So eventually, we also see Levi. He's chilling, giving the kids some candy that are to be of the same race that we saw in the previous special, the kids that were like pickpocketing people. We also get to see Yelena and Jacopo helping out there. They're like moving around some like baseballs and gloves. We then head over back to Mikasa at Eren's grave at the tree, as she mentioned that they have come back to visit her. Isn't that great? And we see like young Mikasa walking over to young Eren. Looks like that one scene we saw from the previous special where she's like, "Hey, Eren, wake up!" That whole scene, and she starts crying, saying like, "Eren, I want to see you again." And then this bird comes out of nowhere and wraps a scarf around her, obviously insinuating that Eren has been reincarnated as a bird. Which, hey, man's been obsessed with freedom. Ain't any animal more free than birds. So, that worked. That tracks as far as I'm concerned. And then from there, we get this amazing song playing there. It looks like it was supposed to have Link Horizon. That was done by Link Horizon. They were like featured in it or whatever. But amazing song goes. We get this massive time lapse of Mikasa meeting up with the rest of the crew at the tree, and it seems like she kept visiting Eren's grave from time to time as she grew older, and some looks like she found a new family, and then we see her get buried wearing that fucking scarf, bro. Like, bro, this woman would not part with this damn scarf. And then from there, we just see the tree grow larger and larger and larger as we see buildings start to form from it. It looks like more like a modern city. But then we see it looks like the place gets like new, and obviously we see all this like war and just destruction. Obviously insinuating, at least this is what my interpretation of it was, that Ishiyama with this ending is saying that no matter what, war is a forever constant. No matter how much you try, no matter what you do, you can never stop war. As long as there's people, there will be war. No matter what you do, and peace just cannot be attained, there will always be war. No matter what, it is just a forever constant that will never be gone. That's at least how I interpreted this time lapse sequence as we see of what LD has become when they get like nuked and everything. That's at least my interpretation. You guys might have seen something differently, and if so, please leave it down in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think of this the ending. But then we end the episode off with some kid walking around with this dog that looks a lot like Eren, I have to say. I don't know if this is like some descendant of their family, some descendant of Mikasa's family or something, But it looks like, I'm pretty sure the kid even had like a red scarf too as well. He was also had like this dog. It looked a lot like Astoria's dog. Like, I'm sure there's no connection to him, but they look very similar. This kind of gave me like Made in Abyss, Last of Us, kind of Star Wars-y vibe with his outfit and everything, man. I don't know about y'all, but I actually kind of dug this. But we end the episode with this kid arriving at the tree that is now grown. It's like massive now as we hit the credits as it says the end. Not to be continued like it has for so many years. It just says the end. Wow, man. I gotta say, man, me personally, I love the ending for this show, man. I thought it was an almost perfect end for a series like an Attack on Titan, man. for what it did for Steve's ending, I thought this was almost a perfect ending, I would say. You know, like there are certain things where I can see maybe people weren't big on it. And like I said, this ending has gone through like 3 different revisions since the chapter originally came out, which is why I'm not coming like, oh, I don't get why people don't like this ending. Why people don't like that? Like, like I said, this is like after like 3 revisions, it's gone. But yeah, man. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments. Guys, leave your thoughts on the ending. If you guys loved it, if you hated it, leave down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, man. For those of you that have stuck around throughout this video, man, thank you. You know, because I'm sure this video is going to be, I will be shocked this video is under an hour long, but I'll find out once I start actually having to edit this fucking thing. But, yeah, man, as I meant to start with this, man, you know, AOT was one of those first series I saw, you know, when I first started getting into anime. You know, I started reviewing the series through season 2 and continued onward. Like, this is crazy, because this is like the first, like, really big series that I have reviewed that is ending. And like, yeah, I did Dragon Ball Super and that ended, but like, it's Dragon Ball. It's not over yet, and we know Super's going to come back sometime soon. Anyway, you know, sometime, eventually it's going to return, you know, to adapt the newer arcs of the manga and everything, man. But like, this is the first really big series that is now over. Like, it is done. There is no more content. This is the end. This is the end of the line for Attack on Titan. And I just have to say, thank you to Ishiyama Sensei for creating this amazing story and these amazing characters. Thank you to Wit Studios for all their work that they've done producing and creating this and animating this series throughout the first 3 seasons. Thank you to MAPPA and their team for animating the 4th season and all the work they did. You guys saw me praise their work. Kyle listened to this video and previous videos. They did an amazing job with adapting the season, their animation, everything was just top tier, man. You know, just... yeah, thank you all that have been joining me on this journey for the reviews, and whether you were somehow stomached my season 2 reviews, whether you started with season 3 or you came in throughout season 4. Thank you all for watching my videos on this series, man. It's been a lot of fun to review this series, man. Also, you know, it's not over yet. You know, so we still gotta wait for the dub of this episode to air, and then that's when it'll really be over. And fun fact, guys, like my first time I actually saw Attack on Titan was through Toonami. It was in like, I think like 2014. Might be 2015 when we went back to the States, man. I saw it airing one day on Toonami. I saw it airing late night on one night on Toonami. It was the episode where Eren actually became a Titan Shifter. It was that episode. I remember just being like, "Oh my god, this shit looks so cool!" And I saw the OP and everything, man. So you know, it's gonna be nice when the episode. It's gonna be interesting when the episode airs on Toonami, because that'll be ending where it began for me, man, on Toonami. But yeah, man, I've rambled on long enough. This review is long enough. Overall, my favorite episode is going to be a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. As always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on my social if you feel like it. Links just across below. And as always, forever more. See you guys next time.